605 BC, Babylon. A prisoner of war knelt in darkness, his city destroyed, his temple in ruins, his people scattered. But in his hands was a promise, 70 years of captivity. That night, something interrupted his prayer, not with answers about 70 years, but with a countdown spanning 490 years. An angel arrived with mathematics, a timetable, a schedule, an appointment set by heaven. 483 years from a specific decree to the exact day the Messiah would enter Jerusalem. Day by day, with no margin for error. This is the prophecy scholars cannot explain away, and once you see it, everything changes. Daniel was not born in chains. He was born in Jerusalem, in the house of Judah's nobility. His name meant, God is my judge. He was 15 when Nebuchadnezzar's armies came, 15 when he watched his city fall, 15 when he was dragged 500 miles across the desert to become a prisoner in the most powerful empire on earth. Babylon, a city of stone gods and golden idols, where the God of Israel was unknown, where Daniel's faith would be tested daily. But Daniel did something that would define his entire life. He refused to forget. He did not eat from the king's table. He did not bow to Babylon's gods. When they threw him into the lion's den, his trust never wavered. But there was something heavier on his heart than death. Decades passed. Babylon fell to Persia, and Daniel, now an old man, opened the scroll of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 29:10. When 70 years are accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you. 70 years. That was the sentence. The temple destroyed in 586 BC, the walls torn down, the people scattered. And Daniel knew by his own calculation the 70 years were ending. So he did what prophets do when heaven is silent. He prayed. Not casually, not religiously. He put on sackcloth, covered himself with ashes, and confessed the sins of Israel. We have sinned, we have rebelled, we have turned from your commands. And then, mid-prayer, something happened. The air shifted. A presence entered the room. Daniel was still speaking when he felt a hand on his shoulder. Daniel 9:21. While I was speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel touched me. This wasn't Gabriel's first visit. Years earlier, he'd appeared with visions of empires rising and falling. But this time was different. He didn't come with symbols. He came with a schedule, a timetable, a schedule, an appointment set by heaven. Gabriel's words recorded in verse 22. At the beginning of your supplication, the command was given. I have come to give you skill and understanding. The answer was sent the moment Daniel's knee touched the ground. And then Gabriel said something that would break Daniel's heart in the best way. You are greatly beloved. An exiled prisoner, an old man far from home, greatly beloved by the God of the universe. But what came next would change everything. Gabriel delivered the prophecy. 70 weeks are determined upon your people and upon your holy city.
Shavuim, sevens. Not weeks of days, weeks of years. 70 times 7 equals 490 years. A countdown spanning 5 centuries. But a countdown to what? Gabriel listed 6 things that would happen within those 490 years. To finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness. Read that list again. These aren't tasks a human king could accomplish. This is the description of a Messiah. But every countdown needs a starting point, and Gabriel gave one. from the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. The problem? There were 4 decrees. The first decree came from Cyrus in 538 BC, but it concerned rebuilding the temple, not the city. The fourth decree came from Artaxerxes in 445 BC. This one was different, specific, clear. Nehemiah 2, "Send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it." The king granted it, gave him letters, timber, military escort. The date can be pinpointed with astronomical precision. Nisan, 445 BC, March-April by our calendar. This is when the clock started. Gabriel divided the timeline 7 weeks and 62 weeks until Messiah the Prince. 7 weeks equals 49 years, Jerusalem rebuilt in troubled times. 62 weeks equals 434 years until the Messiah. Total, 483 years. But here's where it becomes extraordinary. The prophetic calendar used 360-day years. 483 years times 360 days equals 173,880 days. Converting to our solar calendar, 173,880 days equals 476 years. From March 14th, 445 BC, forward 476 years. The calculation lands on April 6th, AD 32, a specific day, a spring day, in Jerusalem. Passover was approaching. The city was packed with pilgrims. And on that exact day, something happened that fulfilled every word Gabriel had spoken. Jesus of Nazareth entered Jerusalem on a donkey, and the crowd erupted. "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." They were quoting Psalm 118, a Messianic psalm. They were proclaiming him the Messiah. And Jesus, who had spent 3 years avoiding public Messianic declarations, did not stop them, because this was the day. 483 years, 173,880 days, fulfilled to the hour.
69 weeks fulfilled, 483 years complete. But Gabriel said 70 weeks. 1 week remains, 7 years. Scholars debate where that final week went. Some say it was fulfilled in the years after Christ's death. Others say it's still future, the 7-year tribulation yet to come. Others say the clock stopped when Israel rejected the Messiah, that the final week awaits a future fulfillment when God's focus returns to Israel. Revelation describes a 7-year period of tribulation, a covenant made and broken, an abomination set up in a future temple. Whatever view you hold, one fact remains undeniable. The first 69 weeks were fulfilled with documentable precision. And if God was that accurate about the first coming, Daniel prayed for answers about 70 years. God gave him a revelation spanning 490 years and beyond. 483 years counted to the day, fulfilled to the hour. The question isn't whether the prophecy was accurate. The question is, what will you do with what you now know? Comment "countdown" if this evidence changed something in you. Because if the first 69 weeks were fulfilled with mathematical exactness, what does that say about everything else the Scriptures declare about what's still to come?